Hey guys, it's Tiffany and Riley. I know that I'm looking a little bit rough right now. I'm getting over a cold. Today I'm going to be talking about what I have learned the past decade and the past year. I have learned a lot within the past year. From literally losing respect from all of my so-called family to just being able to live life that God has called me to do or to be. A lot of you know my story of how I was toxic towards the end of the 2010s and how it led up to the events that happened. While I am not going to be talking about that right now, and probably never will talk about it because I want to leave that behind, I will, however, talk about the lessons that I've learned and still learning to this day. Many of you have noticed that I have been quite silent on social media lately. Social media is the biggest cause of people being toxic because all they are obsessed with is the amount of followers, the amount of likes, the amount of comments they receive, the amount of messages they received. All of this can be built up into thinking that I need to be successful or I need to have a bigger audience in order to be successful. This is not true. In my opinion, it's better to have a smaller audience rather than a big audience, because with a smaller audience, you have a chance to grow as a person, to grow as a blogger, to grow as an influencer, to grow as a content creator. So it's always better to have a smaller audience. So that way, if you are being toxic or if you are being something that you're not, and then people call you out for it and yet you ignore it, you ignore the signs that people call you out, and eventually you're gonna regret it later, then it's really not worth having as much followers and as much likes and as much comments and messages than it really is. Taking breaks from social media, your choice to take breaks from social media and here and now and then to connect with reality, is a whole lot better, because you're not standing in front of a screen. You're not just sitting in front of a screen 24/7. Unfortunately, with this pandemic, that's what everyone's been doing, especially teenagers. I do realize that I have a lot of minors watching my videos and, of course, reading my blog, which I do have a new blog coming out this week, probably later today. So in my next video, I will put the link to that in my next video. Which is the next thing I'm going to be talking about, rebranding yourself. I have decided to rebrand, even though I'm still Tiffany Riley. I'll always be Tiffany Riley. My new brand is The Imperfect Rose. The reason why I rebranded myself to The Imperfect Rose is because since coming into a relationship with Jesus, I have learned to let go of the perfection within me. I have learned to embrace my imperfections and to embrace all of my imperfections and my flaws and my mistakes. And I have learned to love myself just as I am. My favorite flower is a rose. And the reason being is I have a little mantra that I go by, and it goes like this: to have a rose, you must respect its thorn. Now, if you try to pick up a rose and yet you've been pricked by one of the thorns, the thorns actually protect the rose from its enemy, from its prey. So anything that tries to grab onto it aggressively or tries to pick it up, its prey will be pricked. So that's what kind of a little bit about why I rebranded from Tiffany Riley Official to the Imperfect Rose. Don't worry, I'm still Tiffany Riley. It's just I rebranded just a little bit. So yeah. Like I said, I've learned a lot. Unfortunately, some people that I've come in contact with are still toxic, and probably will always be toxic, unfortunately. But that's them. It's their loss. If they chose to be toxic, that's on them. The universe knows what they did, and the universe will get them. The universe will get back at them. Like I said, it's better to go deeper within yourself. It's better to go deeper within yourself. It's better to it's better to ask your God to search your heart and see what's toxic and what needs to be fixed. Rather, sometimes you just gotta call your own self out, saying, hey self, this is toxic, you're not supposed to be doing this. That's how social media, and the way with social media works, is that when people think that they're in the wrong and being toxic, they always post what's called toxic positivity. Toxic positivity is having this way of thinking, I'm gonna be okay, I'll survive this, I'll be happier, if I'm with this person, or if I, or if I, just, even though I'm struggling myself, I'll go ahead and just post this, to help others. What I have learned is to step away from social media for at least 3 days, sometimes a week, and just kind of fix my behavior, fix my attitude, fix whatever needs to be fixed before returning to social media. Because in my mind, I want to help others, I want to inspire others, I want to make sure I am doing the right thing before, that old saying, think before you post. That's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to think before I post. Because whatever I say on the internet, unfortunately, even if I do delete it, it will stay on there. It will not go away. So always think before you post on social media. So I have a lot to say on the subject, but again, I'm a little bit under the weather, as you can tell by my voice. But I definitely will get back into the process of learning and just kind of talking a little bit, everything like that. So anyway, of course, I always welcome feedback on my blog, this channel, etc., etc. I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe during this pandemic. Even though we still have a long way to go with this pandemic, but we are one step closer to this pandemic ending finally after literally a year. So yeah, I love you guys, and I hope that you guys are doing well and staying safe. Bye-bye.